All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of Geek Vibes Interview brought to you by Geek Vibes Nation. I am your host, Don Fisher, and today I have with me a voice actor, a screen actor, a food critic, and musician with over 2 million followers on social media and a rich, deep voice that has been heard around the world. Welcome, Stefan Johnson.
Happy to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man, like you're one of the first people that I downloaded TikTok when it started blowing up, and
Yeah,
I was like, I seen that like people were like, oh, that's only for like teenagers. So I was like, I'm not gonna tell nobody that I downloaded it. So I'm like
right, right.
scrolling. I started scrolling and I see like there's more adults on there than I see of like teenagers, and I was like, maybe it's because I'm an adult, so I don't see
Right.
like the teenager stuff. And I came across your page, and I was like, yes, this is the content I want. uh, and then fast forward, then I see you in Cherry, and I was like, yo, like dude is legit. Okay, let me go ahead and reach out real quick. Hey, is this you? You're like, yo, it is me. I was like, oh, okay, that's crazy.
Absolutely.
Um, so you do voiceover work, um, and you've done like McDonald's and Sega, a game for Xbox, was Red Cross, Army, Air National Guard.
Mhm.
How does one get into this line of work?
Well, I mean, basically, everyone has like their different avenues or their different paths. Some people come from like the screen acting world, and they're able to transition that way based off of their reputation. There are people who come from the radio side of the world, where they already know broadcast, they already know just audio editing, stuff like that, and they transition that way. But a lot of voice talent, myself included, starts with coaching. Having an interest in the field, and seeking a voiceover coach, and having them train you, having them help you with a demo, and then just hustling from there with marketing and branding, and until that first gig comes in, and then after that, it's easier to continually book work from there.
When did uh when did you know that like your voice was one that resonated with ears? You know what I mean? Because in your field of work, you gotta have that buttery, smooth, deep, jazzy voice, to make people, to catch their attention because that's a lot of what people um grabs them for whether it's trailers or commercials,
Of
and
course.
and people we tend to not realize that's an actual person speaking,
Mhm. Yeah.
these parts, and just now, over the past couple of years that we're seeing the faces behind these voices, and we're like, oh shit, like I would have never known.
Right. Well, I mean, it's for me. I started off with doing the morning announcements in high school.
Okay.
In ninth grade, I was in drama club, and the drama teacher was also in charge of the morning announcements. And I had a buddy who did the morning announcements too. And one day, I showed up to drama class, and my drama teacher was like, "Oh, do you want to do the morning announcements? You have a really good voice for it." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. If you'll get me out of like the first few minutes of my first class of the day, yeah, sure, let's do it." And from there, just everyone started to kind of give me so much attention off my voice. Of course, me being the guy I was back then, the girls started to give me a little bit of love off my voice. So I'm like, oh yeah, let me keep doing this. And I ended up
Right.
doing it all 4 years of high school. And then from there, I just kind of realized like, okay, I have something. Like the people in school used to just call me the voice. You know what I mean? That was like my nickname. Even the principal used to just call me, "Hey, voice, what are you doing? Come here." You know what I mean? If I was doing something stupid.
Right.
So, from there, it probably became first thing on my mind to use my voice as a career after high school.
Is it a is it a is it a rarity where you're from? Is it something that's like people are like that's what you do for a living? Is it something that's completely foreign to the city you grew up in?
Yeah, because I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's not like in LA or New York where you have a ton of actors, a ton of voice actors, people like that all around. Like there's a pretty great entertainment scene here in Cleveland, but it's a lot of it's music based. Cleveland's the home of rock and roll. But as far as voice acting go, I only know a few other voice actors in the Cleveland area who do it seriously as a profession.
Okay. Yeah, it's not. I think I've met maybe one or two of the people that are in that line of work, and
Hmm.
it was at like a Comic Con, so they were more
Yeah,
there, teaching like a voiceover class, and I just happened to get
exactly.
into a conversation.
Right.
So do you have like a roundabout number of how much different brands or things that you've done voiceover work for?
Oh, I mean, like it's probably up into the thousands at this point because I've been doing it for about 10 years,
Oh, wow.
5 years seriously, but 2 years full time. But as far as like bigger brands that people may know, I mean, I've done probably about maybe 50 or so, like big brands that,
Right, right.
people will just know, like household name type things.
That's crazy. And with so much work, is there ones that are more difficult than others, whether it be like the length of the dialogue or
Yeah.
the the inflections you have to put on certain words? What's like the easiest and or your favorite, and what's been like the most difficult?
My favorite and the easiest for me, I'll say the commercial and promo world, because as far as like me reading script, reading copy, I'm a sprinter. I'm not a marathon runner. So like those short 30-second, 15-second commercials or promos, those are my bread and butter. Me, I have ADHD, like clinically diagnosed ADHD. So it's hard for me to get through like longer things. That said, I did one audiobook in my life and I will never touch audiobooks again in my life because those are a marathon. And I did it. I had the nerve to tackle it when I was still working a real job, 9 to 5. And to record like a 20 chapter audiobook, that could take weeks. That could take months, depending on your schedule. Like I literally, around the deadline of it being due, I had to call off my regular job. I had to cancel plans with friends, and then again, my ADHD, the way it's working, I'm stumbling over words. I'm spending extra time editing because I had a hiccup here or I mispronounced this, and it's just a drag. So anything long form is a challenge for me, but anything short form, it's like my bread and butter.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I couldn't imagine having to be someone like, I'll read a book and it says like a 24-hour read. Like someone had to
Yeah.
read all the
Yep.
long.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about that is that like it could be a 24-hour reads. That most likely took that person months to record, unless they were just literally recording 16 hours per day or something like that. Because you got to record it and then you got to edit it and then you got to send it back to the publisher and they may come back with revisions and they may say they need a whole chapter reread. So it's a grind and I couldn't do it. Hats off to the audiobook voiceover talent because I couldn't do it. I'll never do it again.
Yeah, that's rough. That is
Mm-hmm.
rough.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna bring up something that you posted recently that's very divisive with people.
Okay. Okay.
Milk first and then cereal. Is this really how you feel?
That's my hill. That's my hill, and I'm standing on it. You know what I mean? Because it started off as kind of a niche thing. It started off as one of those things where I noticed I did it. I didn't have a strong stance on it, and then like years ago, like I just brought it. Like I think I was having breakfast over at my friend's house or whatever it is. We all had cereal or whatever, and I just poured my milk first, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm just eating breakfast. What do you mean?" And they're like, "Who does this?" And I'm like, "This is like a whole thing. Like there's like a controversy about this." And then I took it to TikTok and then the world lit up over my simple opinion. And I'm like, okay, so this is going to create conversation. This is going to create views. I'm going to drill this I'm going to drill this as much as I can. And people just love to hate me about it. So it's like my gimmick now.
Yeah, that the one you had did for like the hotline is great. Like it is so good to make it seem like it's that serious. Like um it's so good. So with like your videos on TikTok popping off, because you reached 2 million, it seemed like really like over that
Yeah.
2020, it just was increased like every day. Is
Yeah.
I have like the pandemic was a weird. I don't want to say like
Yeah.
blessing, but it was a weird like time that like was kind of beneficial for me in a way, because
Yeah.
my screening game went up and had more views, for myself. So was it something that was kind of
Nice.
beneficial for yourself as well?
It was. And I'm like you too. You hate to say that everything that's going on in the world was beneficial in any way, but honestly, it was because it was one of those things where I'm also in a band. I'm in a tribute band that normally tours the country.
Okay.
And when the world started to shut down, we couldn't tour. So between me doing voiceover and, me not going out to hang out with my friends and not going to see my family as often, you know what I mean? I had a lot of free time. And just like you, I kept hearing about this TikTok app and people kept saying like, oh, it's for kids, it's for teens, or whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, well, I have nothing else to do though. So I'm going to download it and see. And I recorded a few dumb videos and people liked the dumb stuff I was posting. So I posted more. And like you said, just through 2020, it just kind of skyrocketed. And then they introduced the creator fund where you can make money off of it. And I'm like, oh, we can always use extra money.
Right.
So, and then from there, it just skyrocketed, you know?
Yeah, and I think that I had talked. I don't know if you heard of King Vader, who's a creator, but I feel like there's a weird thing that happens with when you're able to produce content is that you're doing something that you didn't realize you were doing. So with your snacks, they really need to bring back, right?
Yeah.
They're the newer generation, they think everything that they come across is new, like this thing is new, y'all ain't
Yeah.
seen this. So you're with that, you're giving them almost a history lesson, because some of those things, they are eventually going to come back, but now they go back to your video, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it wasn't new, it wasn't our thing, like, nah, that was ours,
Right.
that was ours.
Right.
And also, I think you create very shareable content, because I show my wife those videos all the time. So, yo, you remember like the square pizza, or you remember the cream savers? Like, it's such a refreshing thing to see online, because you know it's divisive in the fun way. You know what I mean? Because
Exactly.
a lot of the food is either you loved it or you hate it, but it never is creates this vitriol between people, like the politics that we all saw over the past couple of years.
Exactly.
So we have this fun thing that we can all do. Um, but with all this, the voice acting, how did that translate into? I think you had what a part in Judas and the Black Messiah, right? And
Yes.
then you had your scene in Cherry. How did that come about?
Well, I mean, I've always been into just entertainment in general. Like I said, in high school, I was in drama clubs. So I always, from high school, I was in plays and, things like that. And just through growing up in Cleveland, I've gained so many friends who are in other avenues of entertainment, like musician friends. I have actor friends, director friends, producer friends. And just gradually through since 2018, 2017, I've been gradually getting into the on-screen type of thing. And eventually I started to show up to casting calls for bigger things, because Cleveland's a very cheap city to film in, I guess because they get a tax break. So a lot of big films have come here to film. And, I go out to be an extra or whatever it is, just because, they need another body for the background. And with Judah and the Black Messiah, they needed people who looked as authentic as possible, because it was set back in the 70s or whatnot. And me at the time, I had an actual afro. So I went in there actually just to be a background extra. And then as we was all walking to our places, one of the directors looked at me and was like, hey, is that real? My hair. And I'm like, yeah, this is a real one. They're like, okay, you come up front. You're going to be on camera. I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay, cool. So I was front row in the big church rally scene. And then the Cherry thing, that was a very kind of a starstruck situation for me, because same exact thing, just show up to be an extra for this bus station scene. I'm just supposed to be in the back talking with someone, acting like I'm talking to someone. And then the Russo brothers, they actually improvised that scene. That scene was not going to go that way. The scene was going to be Tom just, kind of not roughing up his leading lady, but he was just going to be aggressively trying to get her attention. He was going to shake her, you know what I mean? And then the Russos had the idea that if this happened in public, no one was going to just stand by while this guy roughs up this girl. So someone needs to intervene. Right. So they scan the crowd and they're like, do you want some lines? And I'm like, I'm thinking, talking to the guy next to me, I'm like, oh, me? Yeah, sure, let's do it. And they're like, yeah, so you're going to intervene. You're going to get between her and him. And, you're going to say, hey, keep your hands off her or whatever. And so you're going to have these two lines. Can you do that? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And, we ran it about 50 times. And they're like, okay, cool. And I was so surprised to see that it made the final cut, because so many things like that end up on the cutting room floor. And then, you sent me the scene. And I'm like, Jesus, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like I said, it was a highlight for me, because like the movie, is what it is. You know what I mean? Some people like it, some people hate it, but it's still regardless, it's a huge movie. Tom Holland's one of the biggest actors. And then so I'm watching the movie and I'm like, it's very bleak at that point of the film. And then I'm watching, I was like, hold on. I paused. I was like, I know that. Is that? No way. Like, yeah, man. So it's cool to see people that you've seen grinding online doing that thing pop up in a movie you're watching, and especially you go from a big movie, Judas and Black Messiah, to another big film in Cherry. And then you have the Russos, you know, talking to you, and people like them. I've noticed they don't forget a lot of their people that they interact with, right? So they
Yeah,
work on Community, and a lot of those people from Community, those actors, show up in other works that they do, right? And they did, you know,
exactly.
the Avenger films, and they those same actors end up for different things. So now, you know, that they've
Exactly.
had this conversation with you, and people are gonna, you know, since you are so big on TikTok, that scene at some point is gonna go viral. They're gonna realize, hey, people notice this guy, they know this guy, and I feel like with your voice as well, you know, Marvel and Disney doing so much, and it'd be great to see you as like, you know, a villain on one of these animated or the What If or something like.
Yeah,
Hopefully, somebody reaches out. Have you ever
that
thought of
would be
that?
amazing.
Um, so when with your the voiceover work, is it something that you have to reach out, or is it something that they contact you, or is it kind of a you know vice versa type thing?
Well, I mean, there's like three avenues. Well, for me, there's like three avenues in this day and age. For the majority of it, a lot of it is like my own self marketing, me reaching out via email marketing, social media marketing, me finding people in power, or at least in decision making positions at certain companies, reaching out, selling myself. Um, I do have a lot of people now because I have a little bit of notoriety. I've gotten people reaching out to me, specifically like, hey, we love what you do. We would love for you to voice this. And then I also have a few agents and a manager who help funnel opportunities to me as well. I'm blessed to say that I have a little bit of each realm going on.
Yeah, I think you're in like a. I didn't think about it until I'm preparing for this interview that like voiceover actors kind of are in this like unique space where if you have a work ethic, you can and you have a great voice, and you can have consistent voice work, and then you can have this other separate screen acting career if people don't realize that you're this person doing a voice.
Yeah.
So you can have like these two separate parallel careers, and yeah, it's an interesting and it seems like a lot of the voice stuff now you can do from home. We've learned a lot of jobs can be done from home now. So now
Yeah.
you have the luxury of like not wasting gas or
Yeah.
flights or what have you. So yeah, you're in a very unique position, and it seems like your career is very young. So you have the stars to go
Yeah.
after.
Hopefully.
So what do you see like your future goals? What are you trying to accomplish, or what is something that you want to strive for? So we can put that into the universe.
Well, I mean, as far as like my like voiceover goes, I'll say that movie trailers have always been that realm. I think a lot of voice talent, that's kind of like end game goal for them,
Yeah.
either being on a TV show or like a cartoon or doing movie trailers. So I'm one step closer to doing movie trailers now that I kind of booked this bigger promo spot. Which I shouldn't have just brought up right now, but disregard that. Anyway, my agents are going to get mad at me. But trailer is probably the end game goal. Or also, I would love to be like maybe leading on like some cartoon, maybe a video game, leading voice. As far as entertainment go, like in acting or whatnot, I never really took acting too seriously until a few of these bigger opportunities came up, like Judah and Black Messiah and Cherry or whatnot. I always said like, oh, if I'm ever on screen, I kind of just want like a background part, a small part, maybe one line here or there. But I've been playing around with the idea of maybe like doing some leading or supporting acting. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be investing in some more acting classes just to see where things could possibly take me.
How has the increased notoriety affected your personal life with like your family?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have probably the most supportive family in the world. My wife is amazing. My friends are amazing. It's just like an outpouring of love. Like any little win I post, it could be the smallest win, and my family are hyping me up,
Yeah.
texting me, calling me, sharing it on social media. That's my baby. That's my cousin. You know what I mean? That
Right.
whole type of thing. My wife is like my number one cheerleader. She's amazing. It feels good to have such a major support system. Just in my corner. It's been amazing.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Um, let's see. Do I have any? Uh, so yeah, I think like I just would wrap it up with is there any bigger anything you're working on that you can say, anything coming up in the near future, or maybe in the distant future that you can talk about.
Got you. Definitely, definitely. Well, right now I am actually, speaking of on-camera stuff, I do partially host a show on All Recipes YouTube and All Recipes Instagram. It's called We Tried It, where we go ahead and we try viral food sensations and like things from the past. We try to make them, see if they're worth all the hype or whatnot. So if you go and subscribe to All Recipes YouTube and go and subscribe to All Recipes Instagram, you'll see me there posting weekly on We Tried It.
And then I saw you did what is it? How to Survive in Dangerous Prison or something like that.
That too, yep. I am also the voice of How to Survive on YouTube. So if you type in How to Survive, everything there you're going to see is narrated by me. Go ahead and give them a like, follow, and subscribe as well, and you'll hear me multiple times per week on there.
That's dope, man. Where can people find you on all your social media platforms?
I am S_Johnson_voiceovers on everything. So if you go to YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and of course TikTok, S as in Sam _Johnson_voiceovers.
Yeah, so y'all be on the lookout, because like I reached out because I foresee like big things. Like it's like instantly when I saw you on screen, I've seen you on like the TikTok and Instagram. I just had a feeling like, this guy is going somewhere. I just had this. It was a weird feeling, man. Like I've had it a couple times, but I was like, man, this guy is like, he's gonna be something. You know what I mean? So I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully everybody go follow him, watch his videos, because it's a great stress reliever. It's great fun with your friends. You send the videos back and forth. And then everything you end up working on ends up being great. So I wish you the best of luck. And I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. It's been an honor being on your show, and I hope to maybe we do this again soon.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, everybody, Stefan Johnson, check him out. Geek Vibes interview and Geek Vibes podcast. You can find us anywhere. You can find us on YouTube, and be on the lookout for our another Marvel cinematic review covering the Winter Soldier. So again, I appreciate you, Stefan, taking the time, and I'll see you next time.
Absolutely. You take care. It's been a pleasure.
All right, man.
All right, boss.
I'm gonna stop recording.